The judicial branch of government is entrusted with the vital task of interpreting the law, safeguarding individual rights and resolving disputes fairly. In this lecture, we'll delve into the structure of court systems, understand the different types of courts and examine the intricacies of judicial processes and sentencing. We'll also consider some of the contemporary challenges and debates surrounding the pursuit of justice. The structure of court systems. Hierarchy of courts. Most judicial systems operate within a tiered structure. Lower level courts handle everyday cases like traffic violations and minor disputes. Higher level courts are responsible for more complex trials and appeals, often shaping legal precedents that influence future cases. State and federal courts. In the United States, the judiciary has a dual system comprised of state and federal courts. State courts primarily handle matters arising from state laws, such as criminal cases within state borders, family law disputes, and contract breaches. Federal courts deal with cases involving federal statutes, constitutional issues, or disputes between states. Trial courts versus appellate courts. Trial courts are the first point of entry for most cases. They conduct trials, hear witness testimonies, examine evidence, and determine verdicts in criminal cases or judgments in civil cases. Appellate courts focus on reviewing decisions made by lower courts, ensuring correct legal procedures were followed and the law was accurately interpreted. Types of courts. Criminal courts. Criminal courts deal exclusively with the prosecution of individuals accused of violating the law. These courts determine guilt or innocence and impose sentences if a defendant is found guilty. Civil courts. Civil courts serve as the forum for resolving disputes between individuals or organizations. Typical cases involve contract disputes, property disagreements, personal injury claims, and family law cases like divorce or child custody. Specialized courts. Many jurisdictions recognize the need for specialized courts that focus on a specific area of law or particular populations. Examples include drug courts, which aim to rehabilitate offenders with substance abuse issues, juvenile courts, which manage cases involving minors, and bankruptcy courts. Judicial processes. Pre-trial procedures. After an arrest, the pre-trial phase involves various steps. At the arraignment, the defendant is formally informed of the charges and enters a plea. Bail hearings determine whether a defendant can be released from custody while awaiting trial. Plea bargaining, where the defendant negotiates a plea of guilt in exchange for reduced charges or concessions, is common in many cases. Trial. If a plea agreement isn't reached, the case proceeds to trial. In a criminal trial, the prosecution has the burden of proving guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. In a civil trial, the standard is usually a preponderance of the evidence. Both types of trials involve the presentation of evidence, testimony, and arguments before a judge or jury. Sentencing. Following a guilty verdict in a criminal case, the judge must determine the appropriate sentence. This decision is guided by various aims, including punishing the offender, discouraging future crime, deterrence, providing opportunities for rehabilitation, and protecting the public by incapacitating dangerous offenders. Appeals. The appeals process offers a crucial safeguard. Defendants or litigants can petition a higher court for a review of a lower court decision, arguing that legal errors or procedure violations occurred. The appellate court may overturn the verdict, order a new trial, or modify the sentence. Sentencing. Goals of sentencing. Sentencing philosophies address various goals, often with a focus on retribution, deterrence, rehabilitation, and incapacitation. Types of sentences. Judges have a range of sentencing options, including fines, probation, community service, and incarceration, jail, or prisoner. For the most serious crimes, some jurisdictions retain the death penalty. Sentencing guidelines. To create greater consistency and fairness in sentencing, many jurisdictions use sentencing guidelines that consider the offense severity and offender's criminal history. Discretion versus mandatory minimums. Judges often have some discretion in crafting sentences to fit the circumstances of the case and the individual. However, mandatory minimum sentences require a set minimum penalty for certain offenses, limiting judicial discretion. Conclusion. Courts and the judicial process ensure the fair and impartial administration of justice. Understanding the various types of courts, their procedures, and the principles of sentencing provides greater insight into the complex legal system. Ongoing debates about sentencing reform and ensuring equal justice for all individuals are crucial for improving the system.